Now in the past I've always made tiny little beaded roses. I've made millions of these. But I thought, what if I could make a bigger one? Now to make a bigger version of my itty bitty one, the biggest difference is the size of the beads. Exact same pattern, but we're just going to use much bigger things. And I'm going to use my copper floral wire. Just a quick tip is you can get this wire much cheaper if you go in the floral department rather than the beading department. And you can get all sorts of gauges. I'm going to just use this regular one. And I had the copper on hand and I thought it would look good with the red, so I'm using that. Alright, for this pattern, I have this practically memorized, but I'm going to put the link of the pattern that I use, and I've used it for years and years and years and years, and I've kind of changed it a little bit here and there, but I'll put the link in the description so you can make your own. And honestly, the only difference I did is I used bigger beads. And so let's see if this will work. Once you get this far, and I have found that it's a little bit trickier to work with bigger things because it's a lot tighter. I'm used to the tiny little seed beads. So you're just going to flip it upside down and then you're going to fill up each side. I can't say that a definite amount of beads, just enough to fill up the side so that the wire doesn't show, basically. And then you're going to thread it through that very tippy top bead. This is where you're going to want a bead that has a large enough hole to be able to thread a few wires through. So chunky enough, but not too big, not quite a pony bead. You could do it with pony beads. It'd just be a lot bigger and you'd need more wire. And just twist up the ends here. You get tough little fingers when you do a lot of these. Kind of bend it into shape and ta-da! And you're going to make 8 of those. This is a great zen out, just space out watching TV kind of project. And now I'm going to make a leaf. The pattern has a bunch of other leaves, but since we're making a really big one, I didn't want to make it too heavy because these are the red ones are glass beads, and it is very, very heavy. I can't imagine putting it on a stem. I thought about it, but I think it's pretty enough. And then I just found what I had hanging around, and these were the only green beans, green beans, beads. Say that 10 times fast, that I had, and I think they work. So it has kind of a macrame look now, but we're gonna make the leaf. Same technique, except we're not gonna go backtrack and go around the edge. You could, and it would make it a little more fuller. And I'm only gonna make one. And again, just get to the edge, pull it as tight as possible. That's probably the trickiest part of, if you're gonna make beaded flowers, try to make it as tight as possible without breaking your wire. That's the trick. And then it'll be nice and neat and tidy. And there's your leaf. All right, we got one more thing to do, and that's the little center stamen. And usually I make these all one color, but I figured since this is nice and big, let's use some pretty pink ones to make it stand out a little more. Otherwise it's red on red. We want this to be sparkly and pretty. And all you do is you're gonna put 3 of your decorative beads in the middle here. And that's gonna be the end. So you're gonna squish it together just like that. And then when you get that, then you're gonna go back to your red beads, and I put 4 of them down. You're gonna double wire there, so it kind of makes it sticks up a little bit. There you go, just like that. It's gonna take a little bit of adjusting, but you get the idea. There we go. Now you could either make 3 of those, or I use the same wire, and I'm just gonna, have to do it backwards a little bit. So you put your 4 red beads down, and then your 3 pretty beads on the top, and then you're gonna loop back through the red. So that the pink are still at the top, just like that other one, and then the red is the stem, so to speak. And you're gonna do that again on the other side. A little bit of twisty. You can use your pliers too, if this starts hurting your hands. I use the pliers a lot to tighten them, especially when I do the little ones. And there we go, we got the centerpiece. Ta-da! I'm gonna start putting these together, but first we want to put these in more of a petal shape. So I'm just gonna brute force it here. It's strong, don't worry about breaking them. You won't. Even if you did, you could just rewire it, it's no biggie. I just kind of put a little curve to it. Plus it fits around into the flower shape a little bit easier when you do it this way. Alright, now you're literally just gonna layer it around. So I always do, the way I do it is I do one side, kind of twist it, do the other side, twist it, and then just go all the way around until you build up your little flower. You're gonna make kind of a clamshell here in the beginning. The first ones are easy, and then it gets tougher as you go because it gets heavier and heavier and thicker. the bigger one here, it was pretty tough to twist the wires. And usually I have little tiny leaves that go around the bottom, you know, kind of like a rosebud. But since this was so big, I didn't think it would just be too chunky. So I just made the one leaf. This is my experiment mostly. I might perfect this a little bit down the line and add that on, and if only you could feel the weight to it. It's very satisfying. And then just kind of floof it up until it looks like your rose. Very pretty. I think it turned out pretty good. Ta-da! And that is basically how you make a rose using beads. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope this was inspiring. Maybe you can make your own rose. You could use any size, and it would just be bigger or smaller depending on the size of your beads, honestly. And I'll put the link in the description below so you can go to town, and I will see you in the next video. I think the next video we're gonna go and do another kit maybe. See you then. Bye.